Jiang Yao is the definition of unlucky. Every business he joins always collapses. His home he rented burned down to ashes, and the landlord filed a case for compensation. Even walking on the road is not safe for him, and he is used to all this now. One day he came to an abandoned ancient house, his family's ancestral home, and he decided to live in this haunted place for a while. But the condition of the place is so bad it feels like it could collapse any time. He recalls his grandpa used to live here until he passed. The furniture is completely rotted, and with just one touch it breaks apart. Jiang Yao has to adjust until his finances get better. That's when a voice called him, "Get out." Jiang Yao, scared, scanned his surroundings and thought he might have misheard something. But suddenly a ghost jump-scared him, making him step back in fear, and the ghost girl started chasing him to kick him out of the house. Jiang Yao ran faster from room to room, soon realizing the ghost was just making him run to the exit. Well, it's not like he didn't want to exit the house, but the house is so big he just got lost playing Maze Runner, with the ghost tailing him to get him out. He stopped at one place to take a breath, but his spoon got caught, and the chase continued. The trail stopped at a wardrobe, and deciding to hide inside, he opened it. He and the ghost girl were suddenly caught in the light that came from inside the wardrobe. Later, he woke up in the middle of the road, and then the system displayed Game Start, with his objective being to escape every possible way from the scene. Jiang Yao was confused where the voice of the game was coming from when suddenly someone grabbed him by the collar. The furious girl called out to him for messing up. Jiang Yao identified the girl as the same ghost who was chasing him earlier and thought she was cute. The girl introduced herself as the Jiang family's guardian spirit. According to tradition, the guardian spirit protects her family, but since Jiang Yao didn't have the family's heirloom, the girl didn't want to believe he was a family member. A guard called out to them from a distance, asking for the school uniform, and even though the girl was a spirit, the guard was able to see her. The system congratulated Jiang Yao for unlocking the wardrobe and told him to choose a suitable outfit, also warning him not to get caught by anyone or he would face an unbearable ending. The guard now came even closer, and Jiang Yao opened the wardrobe and summoned 2 school uniforms, only to realize both were girls' uniforms. The spirit girl changed her outfit in a flash, but the sharp guard stopped her and mistook her for someone from Class 3, warning her for wandering around. Jiang Yao, watching from the side, realized the plan worked and decided to put on the uniform. Soon, the guard called him to come out in front of him. Jiang Yao stood wearing a girl's uniform. The guard, now shifting into a demon, recognized that the boy was fooling him by putting on a girl's uniform. Jiang Yao quickly made some changes, and now he looked like a cutie girl. Yeah, but I personally don't know how he made his chest bigger. The demonic guard became normal again, and told both of them to get inside the school. Walking through the corridor, Jiang Yao realizes the hair clip can even change gender, and he starts cooking up business plans for the Americans. They soon reached Class 3 of the third-year seniors. Inside, the teacher stood with a whip and ordered them to take their seats before the bell, and her whip did its job. As our duo took their seats, the teacher stated the school rules, the 5 and O's, written on the board, perfect to make a person a nerd. Jiang Yao found it odd to have an entire rules session. After the session, as they headed to the dorms, the spirit girl asked Jiang Yao what would happen if they didn't follow those crappy rules. The answer was given by someone unknown, telling them something scary might happen. In front of them stood 2 girls, a small one and a bigger one. After confirming our duo as players, the big girl invited them into her room. Inside, the girl revealed the identities of other players in the school. Realizing she knew so much, Jiang Yao asked her how long she had been there. She told him it had been 5 days, but they were stuck on day 1. The pink-haired girl revealed that they were trapped on May 30 and the same day repeated over and over, which kept repeating over and over again. Judging from the pink-haired girl's silence from earlier, the spirit girl had first thought she couldn't talk. Suddenly, a girl entered, recalling the no whispering rule from earlier. This brat was the dorm inspector, who came to check appearance and grooming, and her first target was Jiang Yao. She found the hair clip suspicious and ordered him to remove it right now. The brown-haired girl stepped in, which infuriated the warden, who then turned into a demon and vowed to punish the students. Her first strike knocked Jiang Yao down and changed his appearance back to a boy. The brown-haired girl took the lead and decided to eliminate the monster before she could lure more victims. Jiang Yao wondered how they planned to defeat the monster, and soon realized they had weapons, especially the pink-haired girl's doll, which bit the warden's left hand. Deciding to take Jiang Yao first, the warden attacked, but the strike landed on something. It was a wardrobe, Jiang Yao's weapon. Yeah, the wardrobe saved his ass today. Then the system informed Jiang Yao about the sections he had unlocked. And from the looks of it, the wardrobe needed to be unlocked separately. In front of him appeared a spin roulette. and Jiang Yao got 2 chances to draw a lottery for teaming up and successfully eliminating the warden. Back to the brown-haired girl who was wondering if her clothes would reset after the day ends. Linlin, the pink-haired girl, apologized for not being much help. They both came close to each other, enough for the squeeze, and were having their moment. Just before they got ready to roll, Spirit Girl separated them, stopping the fun. She was angry at Jiang Yao for not contributing in the fight. Just as Jiang Yao emerged from the wardrobe, he got smacked by her kick. Then she spotted a woman's bra on him and started beating him up, calling him a pervert. Afterward, he called out to the brown-haired girl and offered her a new uniform. It was a nurse's uniform, and with this she could now move freely in most areas of the school. Linlin blushed, seeing her partner as the nurse. Looking at Jiang Yao, she realized he was a support type, but Jiang Yao kept thinking about the bra in his hands and wondered if it gave the effects he was dreaming of. He told them to try checking the effects, and after trying them all, they found no results. Only one person in the room was left to try it out, so Spirit Girl forced him to wear it. Later, the nurse decided to investigate the school since she could stroll freely now. Linlin urged her to take her along, and just as the scene started heating up, it was interrupted with a loud noise. The door broke open, and Jiang Yao, now in girl form, came out with Spirit Girl, though in a weird position. The nurse scanned Jiang Yao and revealed that the character he possessed was Lu Xiaoyue, the student council president, who was a high-ranking character. The group then split into duos and decided to investigate the school the whole night. As our duos strolled through the dorm corridors, the girls from the rooms greeted their president and wondered where she was going this late. Jiang Yao, who is now Lu Xiaoyue, told them he was punishing the white-haired girl for violating rules. The students immediately threw shade at the Spirit Girl, making her angry, and every girl in the dorm clung to Lu Xiaoyue like she was a celebrity, even offering her chocolates and cookies. Jiang Yao realized Lu Xiaoyue's popularity was off the charts. She then told everyone that she would be late, and the students complained about the teacher not letting Lu Xiaoyue rest. Soon, they greeted the council president goodbye. Jiang Yao realized the powerful students could bend the rules. Soon, our duo reached the student council office. The Spirit Girl urged Lu Xiaoyue to go investigate alone, while she headed to the other side to investigate herself. Here we came to know the Spirit Ghost Girl's name. It's Shen. Inside a room, a young teacher was sitting alone, and as Lu Xiaoyue entered, he asked her to help with sorting. Following orders, Lu Xiaoyue started doing her job, but suddenly the papers fell from her hands, and the reason was the guy who hugged Lu Xiaoyue from behind. The boy thought she was desperate since she came early, and Jiang Yao realized the relation between these two. Jiang Yao urged the teacher to go somewhere else. They soon reached the rooftop, and with Lu Xiaoyue having an affair with the teacher, Jiang Yao wondered if she knew the school's secrets. Our boy was planning how to make this teacher spill the secrets, but the teacher closed in, calling him baby and scaring Jiang Yao out. He was disgusted by the teacher and on the brink of throwing up. Then the teacher took it to the next level. He grabbed her thighs and started lifting her, but much to everyone's shock, he pushed Lu Xiaoyue from the railing. Lu Xiaoyue fell in shock, still processing the twist, and before Jiang Yao could make sense of it, he was already falling. The teacher stood grinning on top of the building, bragging to Xiao Shui that if she had just kept her mouth shut about them, he wouldn't have treated her like this. What he didn't realize, though, was that Xiao Shu was literally hanging on the window right beneath him, and she wasn't scared, she was pissed. Done pretending with this filthy bastard, she pulled herself up, gripping the railing, and climbed back onto the ledge. The dude froze the second he saw her coming back up, but before he could even open his mouth to spit out another word, our girl launched herself forward and landed a clean drop kick right to his face. One hit and this man was already half dead on the floor. Even Jiang Yao was low-key stunned, wondering how the hell someone could be that weak. Relieved, Jiang Yao let out a sigh as the teacher laid there like a ghost of himself, but the guy, desperate and shaking, started spitting excuses, trying to explain away his actions. Too late. Xiao Shui yanked him up by the collar, eyes burning with a death glare, her fist clenched, ready to smash his face in and deliver some justice on behalf of heaven itself. The teacher realized just how badly he screwed up, stuttering apologies nonstop, begging for mercy. But right before her punch could connect, everything glitched, time snapped. The scene froze, and our big hooder nurse explained the day had reset. Lying in front of her, Xiao Shui listened as the nurse reminded them that the reading session would kick off at 6:30 a.m., so it was the perfect time to swap whatever info they'd gathered. The nurse had spent the whole night sneaking around the infirmary, digging for clues, but came up with nothing. So, she decided today she'd get close to the students instead, and fish for details that way. From the top bunk, Xiao Shui suddenly called out to the girls, saying she'd actually discovered something. Once she spilled the whole story, Shen's blood boiled. She was furious at that scumbag professor and swore she'd tear him apart. Linlin, on the other hand, broke into tears, convinced that the poor girl had been forced. Maybe at first she'd been lured in by his looks, but it was obvious she'd been trapped. The nurse agreed, saying any romantic thing between a teacher and a student wasn't just messed up, it was completely unethical. Then Jiang Yao, who carried Xiao Shui's memories, added that the girl had realized way too late what was happening to her. She had actually tried to seek help, but that bastard silenced her for good. Hearing that, Jiang Yao pushed back his chair, ready to go beat that piece of shit again. Shen and Linlin wanted in too. They both were dying to throw hands on that creep. But the nurse quickly shut them down. She reminded the girls they couldn't even leave the classroom without some kind of special status, so storming off now was pointless. Instead, she urged them to just head to class like normal, while she figured out a way to sneak them past later. Later that night, Xiao Shui walked straight into the scumbag teacher's office. The nurse's warning echoed in her mind. Stay calm. Don't cause a scene. She eased the door open, but before she could even step in fully, the bastard barked at her to shut it. Typical. She closed the door without a word. Then, with a plan already in mind, she loosened the rope around her neck and gave him a fake, seductive look, pretending she missed him. Inside, though, she was boiling rage, bubbling, every muscle itching to just smash his face in. The arrogant trash smirked, convinced she couldn't bear to leave him. Xiao Shui didn't waste a second. She slid onto his lap, letting him think he was in control. But the moment he relaxed, she struck, wrapping the rope tight and binding him before he could react. He tried to demand an explanation, but her cold, sharp slap cut him off instantly. God, that felt good. So guys, I urge you to slap that like and subscribe button immediately. Right then, the system congratulated Xiao Shui for making 10% progress and rewarded her with one new draw chance. Xiao Shui stuffed a piece of paper into his mouth to shut him up completely, wondering if beating this trash even more might rack up additional rewards. But first she wanted her prize. If it turned out to be a weapon, she swore she'd use it to beat the bastard 9 more times. The roulette wheel spun in her mind, ticking away before landing on an umbrella. Xiao Shui frowned at it for a second, then smirked, already wondering if she could turn it into a weapon. Her eyes flicked down to his main part, and a new idea sparked instantly. With the umbrella in her grip, she marched forward to finish the job. The teacher, panicked, tried to squirm his way out. Too late. He didn't make it, and his balls couldn't be saved. Later, somewhere else, Shen and Linlin took turns beating the scumbag, while Xiao Shui went to report their quest progress to the nurse. The nurse freaked a little, told Shen to stop, said at the rate she was hitting him, the guy might actually die. Shen, being in a whole mood, thought maybe that was the point. If killing him pushed the quest forward, why not just devour him off and get it done? Xiao Shui asked what Shen meant by devour. Shen shrugged and explained, erase him completely. Xiao Shui listened, looked over the scene for a beat, and a fat, satisfied smirk spread across her face. Then she told Shen she'd got an idea. After some time, a large group of students had gathered in one place, and Teacher Wang was absolutely furious. She called everyone out for crowding, her eyes scanning the crowd until they landed on the poster of Xiao Shui and that scumbag, Teacher Li Haobai. Li Haobai, who had been caught sneaking up behind Xiao Shui, looked like he'd just been caught red-handed. Teacher Wang demanded to know who had put up the poster. She had already declared it fake and warned that she would not let the person responsible get away. Then she told everyone to head back to their classes. Just as the crowd started to disperse, Xiao Shui stepped forward. She insisted that they investigate Li Haobai properly before dismissing the poster as a rumor. Teacher Wang immediately realized what was going on and, just as she started to threaten Xiao Shui, a sharp steel poked at her back. Nurse Ye Li had stepped in to back Xiao Shui up and reminded Teacher Wang that she should put her student first. Xiao Shui then moved closer, calling all the students around her. She explained clearly that Li Haobai had been abusing his position to force a relationship with her. Every student froze, shocked at the revelation, finally understanding why Xiao Shu was always being called to the office. The system chimed in, showing that the quest progress had reached 50%, congratulating Jiang Yao, who was currently in Xiao Shui's body, for triggering the quest Utter Ruin. Completing the quest promised bonus rewards. Jiang Yao let out a deep sigh of satisfaction. Social humiliation was exactly the punishment that a scumbag like Li Haobai deserved. But at the same time, he was worried the quest was only halfway done, and he couldn't help but wonder what challenges awaited in the next stages. Just then, Teacher Wang noticed Xiao Shui's concerned expression and asked why she hadn't reported this earlier. Acting cleverly, Xiao Shui suggested that they go to the principal together to demand a proper explanation. While following the plan, she subtly signaled to Nurse Yi Li to stay close, making sure everything went according to her plan. Soon, Teacher Wang led Xiao Shui down the corridor to the principal's office. The teacher told her to go inside and then lock the door from behind. Now Xiao Shui was completely alone in a dark, suffocating room. She already knew the principal had a shady reputation, but being here, in this heavy, silent atmosphere, was terrifying in a way she hadn't expected. Her mind raced as she wondered why the principal hadn't even bothered to turn on the lights. From somewhere in the shadows, a figure called out, her voice sharp and icy. "How could a responsible student like you cause this mess?" Xiao Shui froze, staring into the dark. The principal's words were calm, but there was something in them that made her skin crawl. As her eyes adjusted, she could finally see the principal's face, or what she thought was a face. It was monstrous, something no human should ever look like. The principal sat there, clearly enjoying herself, feeding off the fear of anyone unlucky enough to end up in this room. Just one look was enough for Xiao Shui to realize that this was no ordinary monster. This was one of the most terrifying creatures in existence. The monster spoke again, explaining the upcoming school competition, how the school could win an award, and warning Xiao Shui not to stir up unnecessary trouble. She added that Xiao Shui's future could be affected if she didn't comply. Xiao Shui, however, refused to back down. She said this wasn't a trivial matter, and that she wouldn't let it slide. The monster paused, almost impressed by her defiance, realizing that this girl wasn't going to give in easily. Then the monster's expression shifted into something darker and more excited. She decided to make Xiao Shui obedient by force, and immediately sent her little victim demons after her. They grabbed Xiao Shui tightly, refusing to let go. As she struggled, Xiao Shui realized these were the same group of players she had seen earlier. In desperation, they tried climbing the walls to escape. But it was useless, they were caught again. Probably to be turned into monsters like the others. Xiao Shui glanced at the door and realized that no reinforcements had arrived yet. If nobody came soon, she would have no choice but to summon her wardrobe and hide inside, hoping it could protect her. Before she could make a move, the door exploded. Our cutie Shen was the one responsible, furious about having no spiritual energy in this garbage world. She had blown through over 10 talismans, and only one had actually worked. Shen swooped in, grabbed Xiao Shui, and made a run for it. The principal stayed behind, screaming, shocked and furious, trying to figure out who this girl was who could make such devastating blasts. As Shen and Xiao Shui dashed through the school corridors, the ghosts sent by the principal chased them relentlessly, their eerie presence pressing closer with every turn. Shen realized just how quickly things had escalated and how badly this was going to end. So many ghosts trailing them wasn't just a problem for the two of them, it meant danger for Nurse Yi Li and anyone else caught in the way. The thought gnawed at Shen, knowing they might have dragged innocent people into this mess. Taking charge, Xiao Shui urged Shen to head for the rooftop. Without hesitation, they sprinted upward, and soon enough, every single ghost was lured onto the roof. Among them were not only the faceless spirits but also the trashy Teacher Wang and that scumbag Hao Bai. The moment Xiao Shu appeared, Teacher Wang confronted her directly, accusing her of stirring up trouble for the school right when the important competition was around the corner. She even tried to defend Hao Bai, insisting he was a kind, good-hearted person. The way she spoke of him almost made it sound like she'd had more than just professional ties with him, like she had already shared a few private rounds with that slimy scumbag. While this was happening, Shen was quietly preparing another talisman, already planning to blast Hao Bai's head clean off to end things once and for all. But just as she was about to act, Xiao Shui intervened and stopped her, telling her not to waste precious talismans. In Xiao Shui's mind, there was another way. She thought it would be better to submit and apologize directly to the principal. As the school nurse, Ye Li had authority, and that way Shen and Linlin could still manage to survive until the next cycle. And Jiang Hao, at worst, could hide in his wardrobe until it was safe. But this logic didn't sit right with Jiang Yao, who was silently burning with anger. The thought of Xiao Shui lowering herself to admit guilt, especially when she was in the right, was infuriating. Why should she be the one to bend? Why should she carry false blame? Instead of backing down, Xiao Shui decided to flip the script and draw all the attention on her own terms. She reached into her pocket and pulled out something photographs. These were the very images she had taken earlier while torturing the scumbag Hao Bai. This time, her plan was crystal clear. She was going to plaster those photos on the school notice board for everyone to see, destroying Hao Bai's dignity once and for all. The sight of Xiao Shui holding the photos sent Teacher Wang into a fury. She shouted in rage and immediately ordered her ghosts to seize Xiao Shui. Just as the spirits rushed forward, a new presence appeared. A figure infused with radiant light stood firmly in front of Xiao Shui, shielding her from the incoming attack. Soon, the figure finally revealed herself. It was Lu Xiao Shui, the original one. Jiang Yao recognized her instantly. Teacher Wang, infuriated, charged straight at Xiao Shui with her whip in hand, dragging along a pack of ghosts behind him. but Xiaoxue barely even moved. With just a single snap of her fingers, every demon and even the teachers were wiped out instantly, like clearing trash out of the way in seconds. The spirit girl stood there in absolute shock, realizing just how powerful this grudge was. This was the true original Xiaoxue. As she stepped closer to Jiang Yao, who was disguised as Xiaoxue, Shen panicked. She shouted at Jiang Yao to run, warning him that he was facing the strongest ghost in this entire world. Before Jiang Yao could react, Xiaoxue calmly removed the badge from his hand, and in that moment, his disguise shattered. He instantly transformed back into his boy form. Jiang Yao now understood the truth. Xiaoxue wasn't just the most powerful ghost in this world. She was also the true master of this entire place. When she put her badge back on, the realization struck this was her nightmare, and deep down, she had always wanted someone who could lead her out of it. Seeing Jiang Yao's quick thinking and sharpness, Ghost Xiaoxue softened. She blushed, and for the first time, her cold exterior cracked. She fell for him. The memory of her past came flooding in. In her original timeline, she had once stood on a rooftop, screaming out into the sky, begging for someone to believe her, but no one ever did. The principal, the teachers, even her own parents, all of them had blamed her for things she never did. Crushed under guilt and betrayal, she had ended her life by jumping off that rooftop. Now, in this ghostly form, she was no longer bitter but grateful. Grateful for what Jiang Yao had done for her. As a way of showing her thanks, she stepped close, grabbed Jiang Yao gently, and planted a warm kiss on his cheek. For a brief moment, the two of them shared a quiet, tender warmth. Meanwhile, Shen was in the background, bugging out completely, still shocked by everything unfolding in front of her eyes. And with that, Xiaoxue finally let go. Her body shimmered, fading into the air. Her last words were filled with gratitude as she vanished, thanking Jiang Yao before disappearing completely. With Xiaoxue gone, the floor beneath them suddenly opened into a glowing portal. Before they could react, everything shifted, and when they opened their eyes again, they found themselves in an unfamiliar place. Shen, still shaken, couldn't stop worrying about Nurse Ye Li and little Lin Lin, wondering if they were safe. At the same time, the system's voice rang out, congratulating Jiang Yao for successfully clearing the game. It announced that he had earned 50 points for completing the main quest, and another 20 points for finishing the side quest. Jiang Yao stood there in disbelief, barely able to process that he had managed to clear the stage himself. But even in his moment of shock, he couldn't ignore the uneasy gut feeling that something else was still waiting for him. Before he could dwell on it, the system informed him that he had received a thank you gift from none other than the word master, Lu Xiaoxue, and urged him to check it out. That revelation left him stunned, but what followed made things even more awkward. Shen immediately started complaining, demanding to know why only Jiang Yao was given a gift, and not her. To make it worse, the gift itself turned out to be a bunny suit. Shen, after her complaints were heard, switched her mood instantly. Now, grinning with mischief, she stood beside him, teasing him endlessly and making fun of the situation, accusing him of having strange, embarrassing fetishes. Poor Jiang Yao could only stand there, caught in the same old mess, always stuck with some kind of girl's clothing. And this particular item was definitely not something any guy would want. It wasn't for him at all. Honestly, I was even with him on this one. Changing tactics, Jiang Yao quickly turned the tables. Instead of falling into Shen's teasing, he suggested that she should try on the costume. The sudden remark caught her completely off guard, and this time it was Shen's turn to go red with embarrassment. She immediately protested, flustered and angry, insisting that she would never wear something so revealing. Just then, Jiang Yao suddenly started falling out of the space, his body dropping fast as if gravity had finally caught up with him. Quick-witted as always, Shen reacted instantly and grabbed his hand before he could disappear. In that moment, we got to see Shen's assets. Anyway, the entire space around them shifted. The environment changed completely. In the blink of an eye, they were no longer where they had been before. Instead, they found themselves floating in actual outer space, endless darkness stretching out in every direction, stars scattered far away like tiny lights, and right above their heads, a massive purple portal hovered, glowing with a strange, otherworldly energy. The system suddenly chimed in, its mechanical voice echoing clearly, announcing that the time-space tunnel was now ready. It went on to congratulate the player for successfully clearing the beginner stage. Their points had been updated, and the leaderboard rankings had been refreshed accordingly. Jiang Yao stood there in pure shock, realizing that everything they had just gone through was nothing more than a beginner stage. The weight of that revelation hit hard. If this was just the start, then what lay ahead was on an entirely different level. This time, however, the system's tone shifted. It wasn't casual anymore. It sounded serious, almost heavy, as it laid down the truth. The game, it explained, was extremely dangerous, and because this was a deathmatch, The rewards were going to be more precious than life itself. The system declared that the player who managed to clear all the worlds and secure first place would be granted a mysterious gift, something beyond anyone's imagination. It was described as a gift capable of granting every wish, no matter how absurd or impossible that wish might be. Hearing this, Shen internalized the message. For her, the meaning was crystal clear. With that wish, she could revive her master. Meanwhile, Jiang Yao's thoughts were stuck on rankings and that ridiculous system that tracked them. He pulled up his stats and saw that his current position was 677th, which wasn't too bad considering everything. Right beneath him, in 678th place, was none other than Cutie Shen. The moment Shen noticed, she started teasing him, acting like it was such a big deal that he was only one rank higher than her, poking fun at how impressive that really was. Before he could fire back, the system suddenly lit up, flashing with blinding light that completely swallowed the two of them. Jiang Yao barely had time to react before the world around him shifted. The next moment, he woke up in a completely different place. Still hazy and disoriented, he looked around in confusion. For a second, he wondered if he had somehow been sent back to the real world. Slowly, the details of the room came into focus, and recognition hit him. It was his ancestral house. Once he had fully woken up, a wave of happiness washed over him at the familiar sight. But that peace didn't last long. Shen was there again, appearing in her ghost form, and the second Jiang Yao saw her, the joy was replaced by pure panic. His instincts screamed that he needed to run immediately. As if that wasn't enough trouble already, the system chimed in with another announcement. It informed him that the next game would begin in exactly 1 day and warned him to be prepared. Sprint Shen was absolutely furious with this whole game situation. She grabbed Jiang Yao and started causing chaos all around the house, her anger spilling over in waves. Jiang Yao couldn't help but wonder how she had suddenly become so much stronger than before. Shen, still fuming, explained that she had always been this powerful, but inside that game she hadn't even been able to use 10% of her real strength. That place restricted her abilities to a ridiculous degree. Finally, she released the boy, letting him catch his breath. Jiang Yao, still confused, suggested that maybe the game had some kind of hidden restriction or system blocking her true power. Shen listened to him quietly, but as his words sank in, something clicked in her mind. Without saying a word, she suddenly bolted off in a certain direction, her movements sharp and determined. Jiang Yao hurried after her, and together they arrived in front of a room. The door was sealed tight, covered with layers of spiritual powers and talismans. Jiang Yao was taken aback, wondering why his ancestral home would even have something so mysterious and dangerous hidden inside it. Shen stepped forward and tried to touch the door herself, but the moment her hand brushed against it, lightning shot out from the seal, shocking her painfully. She recoiled instantly, realizing it wouldn't work for her. Turning to Jiang Yao, Shen told him to try opening the door instead. Jiang Yao hesitated, clearly nervous and afraid of what might happen, but he decided to give it a shot anyway. Shen stood behind him, calm but watchful, her eyes locked on him as he reached out. The second Jiang Yao's hand touched the door, the seal began to burn away, unraveling rapidly. Before long, the door gave way and opened successfully. The sight overwhelmed Shen. Tears welled up in her eyes as she stared at Jiang Yao, sensing something she hadn't felt in a long, long time. In that moment, she saw her master in him. Unable to contain her emotions, she rushed forward, throwing herself toward him and calling him Master. Jiang Yao, still trying to process what was happening, sat there in shock as the two of them ended up sitting together on the ground in a strange position. Trying to understand, Jiang Yao asked why she was calling him Master. Shen's face fell with disappointment, realizing she had been mistaken. Just moments ago, she had genuinely sensed the aura of her master radiating from him. The boy asked again what she was talking about, but instead of explaining, Shen stood up, brushed herself off, and kept it to herself. She understood now that Jiang Yao was simply a descendant of her master, and it was only natural that he carried faint traces of his aura. She quietly berated herself, thinking how foolish she had been to misunderstand something so simple. Meanwhile, Jiang Yao was staring at something written right in front of him. The words clearly wrote, "Seat of the Jiang clan patriarch, Jiang Yao." That made the boy freeze for a moment, wondering how there could be another Jiang Yao in his own family. Before he could process it, the ghost mask girl caught his words and immediately took it as disrespect. She pointed him out sharply, saying he shouldn't take her master's name so casually. Then, with a mocking tone, she teased him further, calling him a useless descendant of the Jiang clan who didn't even know his own clan's history. Jiang Yao sat there, questioning in his head if his family really had some hidden history or even secret arts that no one ever told him about. He remembered earlier when Shen had referred him as Master, and he wondered if she had been talking about the clan's patriarch. The thought that the patriarch might have been able to control ghosts passed his mind. That comment instantly made the ghost mask girl furious. She snapped back, kicked him hard, and corrected him, yelling that she wasn't a ghost but a spirit. Sometime later, Shen decided to show Jiang Yao around and gave him a tour of the house. The tour finally ended at the altar, where she explained that only her master had the ability to suppress her power, and for a moment, she thought her master had returned. That revelation shocked Jiang Yao because, in his understanding, the dead couldn't possibly return. Confused and shaken, he asked about his parents and grandparents, and if they could come back too. But Shen proudly clarified that only her master possessed the power of reincarnation. While all this was going on, Jiang Yao's stomach suddenly let out a loud growl. Hunger hit him hard. Pulling out his broken phone, he realized he had already spent a whole 24 hours inside this game. That meant he hadn't eaten a single meal all day. The realization broke him down. He started whining like a child, complaining miserably that if he didn't get food soon, he was going to die from starvation. Later, our boy was sitting there, quietly scooping up noodles, while Shen basked in the sunlight. He couldn't help but wonder how a ghost could just stand there, completely fine, in broad daylight. Before he could think too much about it, Shen smacked him hard on the forehead with her fingers, reminding him that he should be calling her his guardian spirit. On the outside, she acted strict, but deep down, she was happy. For so long, she had been tied to the ancestral home and couldn't leave. But ever since this house had gotten a new master, she was finally able to move around freely, doing whatever she wanted. That sense of freedom filled her with a quiet joy, even if she didn't say it aloud. Meanwhile, Jiang Yao pulled out his phone, curiosity getting the better of him, and started searching the internet for anything about the game. But no matter how much he scrolled, he found nothing. No clues, no signs, nothing at all. The more he searched, the more stuck he felt, wondering if he was the only one who had been dragged into this strange world. Then suddenly, something caught his eye. A recent news article popped up, reporting that a typhoon had caused damage to an abandoned school, and inside, a female corpse had been discovered. The moment he read it, his mind went blank, and the truth hit him like a punch. He immediately realized that the corpse was none other than Lu Xiaoshui. In shock, he slammed his hand against the table, questioning out loud if Lu Xiaoshui was really someone from the real world. Sometime later, we see a city bus rolling down the road, and inside, Jiang Yao sat lost in deep thought. He didn't have any connection with Xiaoyue, so he was sure the police wouldn't share any information with him. Still, something about that haunted school kept giving him chills. The memory of it lingered in his mind like a bad glitch he couldn't debug. Soon, the bus reached its stop, and both Jiang Yao and Shen stepped out in front of an abandoned school. The place looked exactly like the one in the game they had been trapped in before, down to every eerie detail. That confirmed Jiang Yao's suspicion the game was far from simple. Suddenly, the scene shifted. Someone was tied up on a hospital bed covered in clown-white sheets. That unfortunate person was none other than Jiang Yao himself, once again caught inside the game. The system window appers, warning that he needed to escape or be stuck there forever. Anxiety started creeping in as he wondered where Shen had gone. On top of everything, the room around him looked disturbingly like a psychiatric hospital. The sterile air, flickering lights, and faint echo of footsteps made his skin crawl. As his uneasiness grew, something started moving in the background. A shadowy figure slowly stepped forward. It was a nurse, preparing an injection as she approached his bed. Jiang Yao instantly noticed her presence. Acting quickly, he stayed completely still, pretending to be unconscious. The nurse moved closer, but instead of doing anything harmful, she suddenly stopped. When the light hit her face, Jiang Yao recognized her. It was Sen Lin Lin, the pink hair cutie from before. She quietly leaned closer, signaling him to stay silent. Her actions made it clear that something dangerous was going on around them. She climbed on top of him. "Boys, don't get excited." She whispered for him not to make a sound, or else they could both be discovered. She then asked if he had the patient ID and diagnosis written on it, but Jiang Yao, still clueless about the situation, hadn't even checked. Right then, the system displayed his ID card automatically. The diagnosis section had only a question mark on it, which hinted that something unknown and possibly dangerous was involved. Before they could process anything, the door suddenly opened, and someone called out for a nurse to report to the next room. Lin Lin, caught off guard, quickly responded that she was in the middle of injecting her patient. The person who entered turned out to be a doctor girl with a long ponytail and a mask covering her face. She immediately sensed something suspicious about Lin Lin. Trembling, Lin Lin avoided eye contact and nervously explained that she was new there. The doctor clearly disliked that answer. Without hesitation, she pushed Linlin to the floor, criticizing her for being slow with her tasks, and questioning how someone so clumsy had even passed training. She continued berating her for not knowing how to smile properly, mocking her lack of composure. Then, without warning, the doctor snatched the injection from Linlin's hand. Linlin started crying helplessly as the doctor pressed the needle against her neck and injected her. Jiang Yao tried to help, but the bandages around his body were so tight that he couldn't even move. The doctor coldly told Linlin that this was her punishment before walking toward the door, reminding her to keep smiling because in this place, those who didn't smile wouldn't stay happy for long. As soon as the doctor left, Jiang Yao quickly turned to check on the girl, worried about her condition. But to his surprise, she looked nothing like someone in pain. She looked blissful, almost like she'd been dropped straight into heaven. Her expression glowed with pure euphoria, and the calm joy on her face was so unreal that Jiang Yao froze, wondering if it was the syringe's effect kicking in. From behind the curtain, her shadow moved in strange patterns, almost like she was dancing. The sight made it clear she wasn't just happy, she was in a full-blown dopamine rush. Every emotion, joy, relief, pleasure was exploding inside her all at once, and she seemed completely lost in it. Her body started reacting on its own, moving in odd, uncontrollable ways as if her brain couldn't handle that much happiness at once. She almost looked like she had an OGSM, if you know what that means. After some time, Linlin appeared again, her expression calm and steady, though there was still a faint trace of joy on her face. She stood in front of Jiang Yao, who, despite everything, couldn't hide his concern and asked if she was really feeling okay. Linlin smiled softly, looking all cheerful and docile as she began to explain that in this hospital, everyone had to smile, no exceptions. If anyone failed to, they would be punished. The syringe used earlier wasn't some harmless shot either. It was meant to trap victims in hallucinations, forcing them to keep smiling uncontrollably, no matter what they actually felt inside. She then turned to Jiang Yao and asked if she had done anything strange earlier. Of course, she had, but Jiang Yao, not wanting to make things worse, decided to keep quiet and simply shook his head. Just then, the clock on the wall ticked, signaling that it was already 6 p.m. Linlin realized it was time to take the patients outside for their routine. Almost immediately, the belts restraining Jiang Yao loosened on their own, releasing him. Linlin, now in full caretaker mode, quickly pulled out a wheelchair and rolled it over beside him. With a gentle smile that didn't quite reach her eyes, she told him to get in, mentioning that since she was assigned to attend to him today, he would be under her care for the rest of the evening. The scene then shifted to the campus area outside the hospital, where several patients were being taken out by their nurses. The nurses were busy lecturing them about the importance of keeping a cheerful smile, acting like positivity itself was part of the treatment. Jiang Yao, clearly annoyed, silently cursed the hospital under his breath while glancing around. Then, he whispered to Linlin and asked what the next plan was. Linlin replied quietly, saying that he was currently registered as a plastic surgery patient and his surgeon was Yahello. Yeah, the big girl. She mentioned they were heading to meet her next. But before that, there was one thing she wanted to ask first. She paused and leaned closer to him, lowering her voice even more. She asked him about the new item he had. It was something she was curious to try herself. Later, the scene shifted to the hospital lounge, where Linlin tried on the outfit Jiang Yao had given her. She looked absolutely stunning, every bit like someone out of a dream. Even Yahello, the tall, big, and confident one, decided to try it too, and she ended up looking just as incredible, totally owning the look in her own way. Then came Shen, their adorable little chaos magnet, who also wore the outfit, still flustered, started complaining about how it had no magic effects or hidden powers. Guys, comment down your favorite one. As for me, I will prefer them all at once. Shen tossed the tail toward the boy, hitting his head. She called it a crappy outfit before carelessly throwing it out of the room. Jiang Yao, annoyed but determined, decided to go and retrieve it. However, just before he could reach it, someone else picked it up first. That's when a new girl appeared, blonde, cute, with that shy look and one finger resting near her lips. She held the tail gently, tilting her head a little as she stared at it, her expression soft but unreadable. Jiang Yao paused for a moment, confused about why she wasn't smiling like lunatics here. He asked her to return his item, but instead of handing it back, she gripped it even tighter, as if refusing to let go. He tried again, curious whether she actually liked it or was just being stubborn, but the girl remained completely silent, not uttering a single word. Jiang Yao realized he didn't even know who this girl was, and the situation was risky. Letting anyone unfamiliar get close could expose their group. After a short hesitation, he decided it wasn't worth the trouble, so he told the girl to keep the thing to herself. Just then, an announcement echoed through the hospital, informing patients that the outdoor hours had ended and ordering everyone to return to their rooms immediately. That was pretty bad news for Jiang Yao. Other than trying on some clothes, his group hadn't managed to do anything at all, but since only patients were required to head back, it meant Linlin and Yi Li could still move freely inside the hospital. Turning away, Jiang Yao told the girl he was leaving and that she should return to her room before anyone saw her. But to his surprise, she suddenly grabbed him from behind in a tight bear hug. At the same time, Shen was secretly peeking from her own room, clearly jealous of what she saw. Jiang Yao noticed her strange behavior and asked if something was wrong, but the girl stayed completely silent, her eyes fixed on the him. The mute girl eventually let go of Jiang Yao, but instead of heading back, she followed him like a ghost stalking its next victim. When he reached his room, he once again told her to go back to her room, but the girl stepped right inside his room, as if she hadn't heard a thing. Before he could say anything else, a nurse shouted from down the hallway, reminding them that the rooms were meant for single occupancy. The very next second, the nurse's head came flying across the corridor, her scream echoing like a banshee. Jiang Yao froze at the door, panicked and pale, but the blonde girl stood completely calm, her expression blank, almost emotionless. She stared directly into the ghost's eyes, and that single glare was enough to make the ghost break into a cold sweat before bolting away in fear. Jiang Yao stood there, still trying to process what had just happened. His thoughts spiraled, suspecting that maybe the nurse had been terrified of this girl, and perhaps she was something far more dangerous than she appeared. They both entered his room, but deep down, Jiang Yao already knew the night was not going to be peaceful. As he sat onto the bed, the blonde girl got right beside him, clearly signaling she wanted to sleep there too. Being the gentleman he was, he decided to sleep on the floor instead, letting her rest comfortably. He lay down on the cold tiles, while the girl silently watched him from behind. Sometime later, she lay down as well, curling around him from the back with another soft bear hug. Jiang Yao had no idea what this girl's deal was, or what she really wanted. A part of him feared that something bad was going to happen tonight, and remembering the earlier scene with the nurse only made that feeling worse. He told himself to stay alert, but exhaustion hit harder. Eventually, sleep won. Out of nowhere, pain shot through his body. He woke up in panic, realizing he was bound by glowing red chains that felt alive. They pierced straight through his body, burning and draining something from within him. His mind went blank, and as his strength started fading, but suddenly someone grabbed the chains and tore them apart with ease. Jiang Yao looked up, his eyes wide, and saw the same blonde girl standing there, but she was nothing like before. The shy, quiet girl was gone. Her yellow eyes now burned crimson, her expression fierce and confident, her entire presence radiating power. She stepped on the final chain and shattered it completely. Jiang Yao collapsed to the floor, landing hard, but he barely felt it. He was too lost staring at her, completely frozen as she stood over him, radiating that overwhelming, dangerous energy that made him realize he was facing something beyond human. As the girl's shadow loomed over him, Jiang Yao was still trying to figure out who she was, but before he could think, she grabbed his collar and pulled him close, her eyes filled with disgust as she coldly called him trash on his face. Before he could process what was happening, her right hand moved with killing intent, aiming to end him in one strike. In pure desperation, Jiang Yao summoned his wardrobe, which landed perfectly between them, separating the two. He instantly opened the door and slipped inside, hoping this weird escape trick would save him again. His heart pounded as he crouched inside, praying it would work. But to his shock, the girl's hand gripped the door before it could close. The look she gave him sent cold sweat running down his face. Trembling, he tried to shut it manually, mentally begging the system to close it automatically, like it always does. After a short struggle, the door finally clicked shut, and Jiang Yao fell backward, completely drained. When he looked up, the girl stood over him with a twisted grin, mocking his pathetic attempt to hide. But before she could finish him, something behind Jiang Yao caught her attention. In the corner of the wardrobe lay a bunny suit, the same one from earlier. The moment she saw it, her entire body froze. Jiang Yao noticed the sudden change and quickly figured out that the suit had something to do with her. Without hesitation, he offered it to her, silently signaling that she could take it if she wanted. The girl clutched the outfit tightly to her chest, her expression shifting into one of deep sadness. In the next instant, her violent aura faded, replaced by a calm, gentle look. Her yellow eyes came back, and her entire presence transformed back into the cute, composed girl from before. Watching her, Jiang Yao began to suspect that the outfit might belong to her. When he tried to confirm it, she responded with nothing but a sweet smile, her mute demeanor radiating an innocent warmth. Before he realized it, she suddenly hugged him tightly. At that moment, the system notifications appeared in front of him, congratulating him for meeting the girl named Momo. It informed him that he had unlocked Momo's affection level, meaning he could now use her as a playable character. But the system also warned that power came with danger. If her affection level rose too high, it could trigger something unpredictable. For now, Momo's affection stood at 20 points. The display revealed her identity as an S-rank patient, a high-ranking one at that, suffering from dissociative identity disorder. The rest of her information remained locked. Jiang Yao immediately understood that the dangerous girl he saw earlier was Momo's second personality. He calmly asked if she remembered changing into a different person before, and this time, she finally turned off her mute mode to answer. She confirmed it, explaining that the other personality was her big sister. Relieved that she could finally speak, Jiang Yao asked for more details, and Momo explained that the bunny outfit actually belonged to her sister. That moment he imagined that violent version of her in the bunny suit. He couldn't help but picture her as a killer bunny girl with chainsaw in hands. Momo then hugged him again, this time with more comfort and trust. But inside her mind, her big sister's voice echoed, warning her to stay away and muttering the familiar saying, "All men are dogs." The younger sister disagreed, defending Jiang Yao in her thoughts, saying he was kind and even gave back her sister's outfit without any bad intentions. Somewhere deep within her consciousness, the big sister sat down bare, vulnerable, and sad. The younger sister comforted her, assuring her that now, with her outfit back, she wouldn't be hurt anymore. Back in reality, the cute girl continued enjoying the warmth she felt in Jiang Yao's presence. But just as things felt calm, she suddenly noticed something in the distance. Through the glass door, the same nurse ghost from before was peeking at them. Without hesitation, Momo glared toward the ghost. And with just that one deadly look, the ghost got killed on the spot instantly. In her mind, Momo made a silent vow to protect Jiang Yao, no matter what.